love, n. a temporary insanity curable by marriage. Speak when you are angry and you will make the best speech you will ever regret. The covers of this book are too far apart. Quotation, n. the act of repeating erroneously the words of another. Sweater, n. garment worn by a child when its mother is feeling chilly. Egotist, n. a person of low taste, more interested in himself than in me. All are lunatics, but he who can analyze his delusion is called a philosopher. Patience, n. a minor form of despair, disguised as a virtue. Selfish, adjective devoid of consideration for the selfishness of others. Pray, v. to ask that the laws of the universe be annulled in behalf of a single petitioner, confessedly unworthy. Ocean, n. a body of water occupying about 2/3 of a world made for man, who has no gills. Cynic, n. a blackguard whose faulty vision sees things as they are not as they ought to be. Lottery, a tax on people who are bad at math. Faith, n. belief without evidence in what is told by one who speaks without knowledge, of things without parallel. Scriptures, n. the sacred books of our holy religion, as distinguished from the false and profane writings on which all other faiths are based. Corporation, n. an ingenious device for obtaining individual profit without individual responsibility. Education, n. that which discloses to the wise and disguises from the foolish their lack of understanding. Redemption, n. deliverance of sinners from the penalty of their sin through their murder of the deity against whom they sinned. The doctrine of redemption is the fundamental mystery of our holy religions, and whoso believeth in it shall not perish, but have everlasting life in which to try to understand it. Apologize, to lay the foundation for a future offense. Heathen, n. a benighted creature who has the folly to worship something he can see and feel. Bore, n. a person who talks when you wish him to listen. In our civilization, and under our republican form of government, intelligence is so highly honored that it is rewarded by exemption from the cares of office. Cogito cogito ergo cogito sum, I think that I think, therefore I think that I am, as close an approach to certainty as any philosopher has yet made. Homicide, n. the slaying of one human being by another. There are 4 kinds of homicide: felonious, excusable, justifiable, and praiseworthy, but it makes no great difference to the person slain. Whether he fell by one kind or another, the classification is for advantage of the lawyers. The most affectionate creature in the world is a wet dog. Positive, adjective, mistaken at the top of one's voice. You are not permitted to kill a woman who has wronged you, but nothing forbids you to reflect that she is growing older every minute. Religion, n. A daughter of hope and fear, explaining to ignorance the nature of the unknowable. Inhumanity, n. One of the signal and characteristic qualities of humanity. You don't have to be stupid to be a Christian, but it probably helps. #X. There is no definition for this word, nobody knows what hash is. Famous, adjective conspicuously miserable. Dictionary, n. A malevolent literary device for cramping the growth of a language and making it hard and inelastic. This dictionary, however, is the most useful work. Fidelity, n. A virtue peculiar to those who are about to be betrayed. Conservative, n. A statesman who is enamored of existing evils, as distinguished from the liberal who wishes to replace them with others. Mind, n. A mysterious form of matter secreted by the brain. Its chief activity consists in the endeavor to ascertain its own nature, the futility of the attempt being due to the fact that it has nothing but itself to know itself with. Brain, an apparatus with which we think. History, an account mostly false, of events unimportant, which are brought about by rulers mostly knaves, and soldiers mostly fools. Christian, n. One who believes that the New Testament is a divinely inspired book admirably suited to the spiritual needs of his neighbor. Vote, n. The instrument and symbol of a freeman's power to make a fool of himself and a wreck of his country. Philosophy, a route of many roads leading from nowhere to nothing. Admiration, n. Our polite recognition of another's resemblance to ourselves. Dawn, when men of reason go to bed. Logic, n. The art of thinking and reasoning in strict accordance with the limitations and incapacities of the human misunderstanding. The basic of logic is the syllogism, consisting of a major and a minor premise and a conclusion. Thus, major premise: 60 men can do a piece of work 60 times as quickly as one man. Minor premise: 1 man can dig a post hole in 60 seconds. Therefore, conclusion: 60 men can dig a post hole in 1 second. This may be called syllogism arithmetical, in which, by combining logic and mathematics, we obtain a double certainty and are twice blessed. Academe, n. An ancient school where morality and philosophy were taught. Academy, n. A modern school where football is taught. Belladonna, n. An Italian a beautiful lady, in English a deadly poison. A striking example of the essential identity of the two tongues. Lawyer, one skilled in the circumvention of the law. War is God's way of teaching Americans geography. Mayonnaise, one of the sauces which serve the French in place of a state religion. Be as decent as you can. Don't believe without evidence. Treat things divine with marked respect, don't have anything to do with them. Do not trust humanity without collateral security, it will play you some scurvy trick. Remember that it hurts no one to be treated as an enemy entitled to respect until he shall prove himself a friend worthy of affection. Cultivate a taste for distasteful truths. And, finally, most important of all, endeavor to see things as they are, not as they ought to be. Happiness, an agreeable sensation arising from contemplating the misery of another. The hardest tumble a man can take is to fall over his own bluff. Day, N. A period of 24 hours, mostly misspent. Infidel, N. In New York, one who does not believe in the Christian religion; in Constantinople, one who does. Man, N. An animal so lost in rapturous contemplation of what he thinks he is as to overlook what he indubitably ought to be. His chief occupation is extermination of other animals and his own species, which, however, multiplies with such insistent rapidity as to infest the whole habitable earth and Canada. Prejudice is a vagrant opinion without visible means of support. Politics, N. Strife of interests masquerading as a contest of principles. Amnesty, N. The state's magnanimity to those offenders whom it would be too expensive to punish. Impiety, N. Your irreverence toward my deity. Self-evident, adjective evident to oneself and to nobody else. Nihilist, N. A Russian who denies the existence of anything but Tolstoy. The leader of the school is Tolstoy. Patriotism, N. Combustible rubbish ready to the torch of anyone ambitious to illuminate his name. In Dr. Johnson's famous dictionary, patriotism is defined as the last resort of a scoundrel. With all due respect to an enlightened but inferior lexicographer, I beg to submit it is the first.